Good evening everybody and welcome to the February 2021 midweek watch party. My turn in front of the camera, together with our new addition, our lockdown puppy, who's doing all right. Okay, so we've got an exciting evening this evening with lots of people, some old, some new, some with traditional songs, some with modern songs, some with, well, their own self-penned songs. So let's start it off. To start off, we've got Roger Strange and Paul Beretta, and they're singing The Speed of the Sounds of Loneliness. Followed by Eileen and Moore, who's a self-penned song, Making a Difference. Third up is handpicked, and One of Us Cannot Be Wrong. Isn't that true? And Alistair Brown, I Will Set My Ship in Order.
Here we are again, folks. It's good to be back together. It's a song from John Prine, Speed of the Sounds of Loneliness. And this is our continuing to acknowledge good singer-songwriters who have died in the past couple of months, really. And there have been others, but let's start with John Prine. You come home late and you come home early. You come home big when you're feeling small. You come home straight and you come home curly. Sometimes you don't come home at all. So what in the world's come over you? What in heaven's name have you done? You've broken the speed of the sound of loneliness. You're out there running just to be on the run. But I got a heart that burns with a fever, and I got a worried and a jealous mind. How can a love that lasts forever get left so far behind? So what in the world's come over you? And what in heaven's name have you done? You've broken the seal of the sound of loneliness. You're out there running just to be on the run. It's mighty mean and dreadful sorrow. It's crossed the evil line today. How can you ask about tomorrow? You ain't got one word to say. So what in the world's come over you? And what in heaven's name have you done? Broken the sea of the sound of loneliness. You're out there running just to be on the run. You're out there running just to be on the run. You're out there running just to be on the run.
A writer who liked to write under the skies, old and respected and believed to be wise, would sit and would dream as he looked out to sea, seeking to find a new story, a new story, seeking to find a new story. This writer sat with his hat by his side. From the cliff top he watched the ebbing tide. In the distance seemed to be dancing to the day, to the day, who seemed to be dancing to the day. He put on his hat and walked down to the shore to see what good news this young man had in store. If he was so carefree and could dance to the day, he must have something wondrous to say, wondrous to say. He must have something wondrous to say. When the writer came near, he could see the young man holding a starfish in his hand, tenderly throwing it into the sea. He said, I am making a difference, you see, a difference, you see. He said, I am making a difference, you see. But the old man said, young man, don't you know, there are starfish washed up, for miles you could go. You can't save them all, it is nature's way. Some starfish will die, whatever you say, whatever you say. Some starfish will die, whatever you say. The young man bent down in the glint of the sun. I am making a difference to this little one. And the old man replied, I can see that is true. Young man, I take my hat off to you, my hat off to you. Young man, I take my hat off to you. Then the writer said, I've learned something today from your saving the starfish in your own way. I'll go home and I'll write down this wondrous story. Young man, you are making a difference, I see, a difference I see. Young man, you are making a difference, I see. I'll go home and I'll write down this wondrous story. Young man, you have made a difference to me, a difference to me. Young man, you have made a difference to me.
A thin green can to make you jealous of me, but the room filled up with mosquitoes. They'd heard that my body was free, and I took the dust of a long sleepless night and I poured it in your little shoe. And then I confess I tortured the dress that you wore for the world to look through. Showed my heart to the doctor. He said I'd just have to quit. Then he wrote himself a prescription, and your name was mentioned in it. Then he locked himself in a library shelf with the details of our honeymoon. And I hear from the nurse he's gotten much worse, and his practice is all in a ruin. I heard of a saint who had loved you. I studied all night at his school. He taught that the duty of lovers was to tarnish the golden rule. And just when I was sure that his teachings were pure, he drowned himself in the pool. His body is gone, but out here on the lawn, his spirit continues to drool. Eskimo showed me a movie he'd recently taken of you. The poor man could hardly stop shivering. His lips and his fingers were blue. I suppose that he froze when the wind took your clothes, and I guess he just never got warm. But you stand there so nice in your blizzard of ice. Let me come into the storm.
This is I Will Set My Ship in Order, found on an Aberdeenshire version, found in the Greg Duncan collection. It's related, it's one of these night visiting songs, related in many ways to another song called the Drowsy Sleeper, or the Silver Dagger. Silver Dagger, the big difference is the dagger, which is used to good effect. In this case, he comes to visit, cold and wet. She has better things to do with her time, and he leaves. That's basically the end of the song. It goes like this. Oh, I will set my ship in order, and I will sail it on the sea, and I will go to my true love's dwelling, to see if my love minds on me. Oh, he sailed east and he sailed westward, he sailed far the sea can land, until he came to his true love's dwelling, and he knocked so loud and would be in. Oh, who is that at my bedroom window, knocks so loud and would be in? 'Tis I, your own true lover, and I am wet into my skin. So go and ask your father, see if he'll let you marry me. If he says no, come back and tell me, and it's the last time I'll trouble thee. My father's in his chamber writing, setting down his merchandise, and in his hand he holds a letter, and it smeets much in your dispraise. My mother's in her chamber sleeping, and words of love she will not hear, so you may go and court another, and whisper softly in her ear. Then she arose, put on her clothing, all for to let her true love in. But when she got the door unlocked, his ship was sailing on the main. Come back, my own true lover, come back and marry me. How can I come back and marry you, love? My ship is sailing on the sea. Oh, ships may fly and the seas run dry, love, and the rocks may melt into the sun, and the honest man forget his labour before that my love returns again. She's turned herself full round about and flung herself into the sea. Farewell, farewell, my own true lover, you'll never hate to come back to me.
Thank you very much, Alistair. We're moving on to the second tranche of musicians and poets and singers, and the first one is by Steve Nunn, and in fact it's a salute to Captain Tom, who has died since our last midweek watch party. We have 2 tributes to Captain Tom in this show, and we decided it was such an important event and he was such an important person, particularly in our first lockdown, that we've included both of them. Steve Nunn's is a collaboration. He's done the filming, but the words, there's a poem by Clive Blake, and Rebecca Osborne has done the artwork. Moving on to Andy Roberts, and he's going to sing a song of his own called The White Valentine. Andy Roberts may just be remembered by 1 or 2 of you veterans from the Truro days of the New Folk Cottage in the 70s. He now lives in the Isle of Wight, still writing his own songs, of which 2 are included today, and he'd be very happy to link up on Facebook, found as Andy Roberts Music, and I'll remind you of that later on. Paul and Ruth follow on with Darcy Furrow, and Malcolm ends this group with my favourite Burt Young song. Okay, over to Steve.
A joint tribute to Captain Tom Moore. Artwork by Rebecca Osborne. Poem by Clive Blake. Some superheroes don't wear capes. They wear medals. You're never too old to learn something new. You're never too old to explore. You're never too old to have hopes and dreams. You're never too old to want more. You're never too old for a challenge. You're never too old to complete it. You're never too old to achieve your goal and then remarkably beat it. You're never too old to make a difference. You're never too old to aim higher. You're never too old to change the world. You're never too old to inspire. You're never too old to share your thoughts. You're never too old to give. But mostly, people must realise you're never too old to live. Thank you, Captain Tom Moore. Some Superheroes Don't Wear Capes was read by Stephanie Blake and videoed by Steve Nunn at the Cornmill Recording Studio.
Last chance of snow this weekend, and then we've had it really, unless we get a weird dumping in April. This is definitely a folky one. it's also a local song. Well, the schools are all out and the middle road's closed. The shops are all shutting up early. If you really need to travel, the advice is don't go. We've just had a little bit of snow. Well, the bus is still running, just a little diverted. Ferries tied up on the wall. The postie, the health visitor, they'll struggle through to you. We've just had a little bit of snow. I'm dreaming of a white Valentine. I've downloaded plans to build an igloo with a nice block table and a crystalline window to look out on our little patch of snow. If it settles. So get out your sledge from the back of the shed, last seen about 5 years ago, and put on your crampons, your earmuffs, your axe. We've just had a little bit of snow. I'm dreaming of a white Valentine, downloaded plans to build an igloo with a nice block table and a crystalline window to look out on our little bit of snow. And we're fetching out all of our favourite phrases: blizzard, whiteout, deep freeze, snowpocalypse, Antarctic ice storm, Armageddon. We've just had a little bit of snow. I'm dreaming of a white Valentine, downloaded plans to build an igloo with a nice block table and a crystalline window to look out on our little patch of snow. Just seen a car go by, the first for some time, with a small patch cleared in the windscreen. I don't think that's legal, but anything goes when we've just had a little bit of snow. And I'm dreaming of a white Valentine, downloaded plans to build the igloo with a nice block table and a crystalline window to look out on our little patch of snow.
2, 3, 4. Spend hours on the telephone trying to get a line. When I finally get through to you, well, you said you were just fine. We talked about the weather, said it'll always seem to rain. Don't care about the weather, just want you back again. Don't care about the weather, just want you back again. Couldn't think of what to say, wished I'd planned ahead. All the things that burned I put down the receiver, started to write this song. All the words came out so easy, 'cause I want you back again. All the words came out so easy, 'cause I want you back again. I spend hours on the telephone trying to get a line. When I finally get through to you, well, you said you were just fine. We talked about the weather, said it'll always seem to rain. Don't care about the weather, just want you back again. Don't care about the weather, just want you back again.
Hello and welcome back to the kitchen for the next song. We're going to do a traditional folk song this week. It's called Darcy Farrow and it was written by Steve Gillette and Tom Campbell back in the 1960s. The version that we have is one sung by John Denver, but it was Bob Burt who introduced us to this song. Apparently it was one that Wendy was learning when she was learning how to play the guitar. So thinking about Kitty this week, we'll sing this for Kitty and for Wendy, and it's called Darcy Farrow. Where the water runs down to the Castle Valley Plain, there lived a maiden, Darcy Farrow was her name. The daughter of old Dandy
This song is called my favourite Bert Yant song. I'm driving through the haze of a misunderstood day, frozen, silent weight of a cheer that has decayed, and it's not exactly right, but it's not exactly wrong. And I'm listening to a tape of my favorite Bert Yant song. Happiness is a dream that melts like ice cream. Love is a kiss dissolved in the mist, and it's not exactly right, but it's not exactly wrong. And I'm driving through the night to my favorite Bert Yant song. Across the evening sky, see the wild geese fly. Clouds turn to grey, the rain is on its way. That's not exactly right, but it's not exactly wrong. And I'm spending the night with my favorite Bert Yant song.
Thank you, Malcolm. Really enjoyed that. Moving on to the next group of musicians. The first one is Rob and I. Sounds eclectic. Singing The Dimming of the Day. And we very much miss doing this with Denise. So, Denise. David Harley is next with Castles and Kings, an original written by himself. Annie Ellison Reb, You Belong to Me. And Tim and Sue Brine have got a new original, and it's called Writing on the Wall.
Dimming of the Day, Richard Thompson. Lovely song. It's a song actually that Denise normally does with us, but because of the COVID restrictions, we can't do it. So
Hopefully for not much longer.
that's fine. Are you ready?
Yep.
when all my will is gone, you hold me sway. I need you at the dimming of the day. You pull me like the moon pulls on the tide. You know just where I keep my bed aside. What days have come to keep us far apart? A broken promise or a broken heart. Now all the morning birds have wheeled away. I need you at the dimming of the day. Come the night, you're only what I want. Come the night, you'll be my confidant. I see you on the street in company. Why don't you come and ease your mind with me? And I'm living for the night to steal away. I need you at the dimming of the day. I need you at the dimming of the day.
I was a kid in a country town. I had nothing better to do. I detoured around by the railway bridge on my way home from school. Leaning over the bridge with my chin in my hands, too young for wonder and why. I'd wait what seemed hours for the signal to change, wait for a train to go by. The lure of the footplate, the churn of the rods, straining to places unknown. Fog in November and smoke in the cold air, far off the steam whistle moan. Bathing my eyes in the warmth of the lights, as up the track she would fly. I'd get home late, they'd ask where I'd been. I'd say watching the trains go by. Saturday lunchtime, Sundays in the spring, with sky an implacable blue, collecting the numbers of castles and kings. It's all I'd want to do. Perspective of steel cut through frostbitten green, just went on too far away. And I always felt sad at Cambrian's tail light, she'd disappear round the bend. Now trains mean timetables, luggage and waiting rooms, leaving the people I love. The pounding of diesels, the air to be run, perspective is subtly moved. Tonight I am free, and the rails are still endless. If I had the fare to ride, but I stand on a footbridge in the heart of the city, watching the tube trains go by. Castles and Kings.
I first heard Kate Rusby do this song, but I believe it's a wartime song released, I think, in 1953. It's called You Belong to Me. See the pyramids along the line, see the sunrise from a tropic isle. Just remember, darling, all the while you belong to me. See the marketplace in old Algiers, send me photographs and souvenirs. Just remember when the dream appears, you belong to me. I'll be so alone without you. Maybe you'll be lonesome too. Fly the ocean in a silver plane, see the jungle when it's wet with rain. Just remember till you're home again, you belong to me. I'll be so alone without you. Maybe you'll be lonesome too. See the pyramids along the Nile, see the sunrise from a tropic isle. Just remember, darling, all the while you belong to me. You belong to me. You belong to me.
Okay, here's a new song for us. This is called Writing on the Wall. Mother Nature's shown herself for what she is. She has shown us what's around the corner. We've looked into the dark abyss. We hope this time for coming generations. Now's the time for us to make the change. Womankind should use their loving nature to lead us on the journey that's ordained. All the world around is slowly changing. The earth that needs us now to heed the call. To see the signs she is trying to show us, but we never saw the writing on the wall. No, we never saw the writing on the wall. Time is passing quickly as we question what is right and what we know is wrong. And there must come a time of celebration for the weak held by the young and strong. So in this time of trouble, come together. That's the way we'll show them that they're wrong. Let's join our hands in jubilation, celebrate ourselves in dance and song. All the world around is slowly changing. The earth that needs us now to heed the call. To see the signs she has tried to show us, but we never saw the writing on the wall. No, we never saw the writing on the wall. We never saw the writing on the wall. Never saw the writing on the wall. Oh, never saw the writing on the wall. All the world around is slowly changing. The earth that needs us now to heed the call. To see the signs she has tried to show us, but we never saw the writing on the wall. No, we never saw the writing on the wall. No, we never saw the writing on the wall. No, we never saw the writing on the wall. Never saw the writing on the wall. There we go, writing on the wall.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim and Sue. I enjoyed that. I was looking forward to seeing that one. The next group starts off with Luna the Harp, and it's an instrumental with some amazing photography called Fairy Pools. Looking forward to seeing that. Renata has sent us one in called O King of Prussia. Now this is slightly different because we have subtitles designed by Rob and Renata. The only thing is, if you are brave enough to actually translate it yourself, you cannot switch the subtitles off. Alex Giles comes after Renata with Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out. Eric Clapton, who we all know and love. And Ian Cox with an original, It's All Right Now. So what a lovely group. Take it away, Luna.
Good evening. This is a song about the miserable life of soldiers in the Prussian army. The song was written in the late 18th century and it became very popular in the beginning of the 19th century. It's called O König von Preußen, O King of Prussia. O König von Preußen, du großer Potentat, wie sind wir deines Dienstes so überdrüssig satt? Was fangen wir jetzt an in diesem Jammertal, allwo ist nichts zu finden als Mühsal, Not und Qual? Und kommt das Frühjahr an, da ist die große Hitz, da heißt es exerzieren, bis einem der Buckel schwitzt. Da heißt es exerzieren von morgen bis Mittag und das verfluchte Leben, das währt den ganzen Tag. Vom Exerzieren weg geht's wieder auf die Wacht, kein Teufel tut nicht fragen, ob man zu fressen hat. Kein Branntwein in der Flaschen, kein weißes Brot dabei, ein schlechtes Tabakrauchen, das ist der Zeitvertreib. O König von Preußen, du großer Potentat, wie sind wir deines Dienstes so überdrüssig satt? Was fangen wir jetzt an in diesem Jammertal, allwo ist nichts zu finden als Mühsal, Not und Qual? Und kommt ein frisch parat und man einen falschen Tritt, dann hört man es schon rufen, der Kerl muss aus dem Glied. Patronentasche runter, den Säbel weggelegt und tapfer drauf geschmissen, bis er sich nicht mehr regt. Ihr Herren, nehmt's nicht Wunder, wenn einer desertiert, wir werden wie die Hunde mit Schlägen strapaziert. Und bringen Sie uns wieder, Sie henken uns nicht auf, das Kriegsrecht wird gesprochen, der Kerl muss Gassenlauf. O König von Preußen, du großer Potentat, wie sind wir deines Dienstes so überdrüssig satt? Was fangen wir jetzt an in diesem Jammertal, allwo ist nichts zu finden als Mühsal, Not und Qual? Und wenn wir Gassen laufen, so spielt man uns auf, mit Waldhorn und Trompeten, da geht es tapfer drauf. Da werden wir gehauen von manchem Musketier, der eine hat's bedauern, der andere gönnt es dir. Und werden wir dann alt, wo wenden wir uns hin? Die Gesundheit ist verloren, die Kräfte sind dahin. Und endlich wird es heißen, ein Vogel und kein Nest. Hey Alter, nimm den Bettelsack, bist auch Soldat gewest. O König von Preußen, du großer Potentat, wie sind wir deines Dienstes so überdrüssig satt? Was fangen wir jetzt an in diesem Jammertal, allwo ist nichts zu finden als Mühsal, Not und Qual?
Once I lived the life of a millionaire, spent all my money, I just did not care. Took all my friends out for a mighty good time, bought bootleg liquor, champagne and wine. Then I began to fall so, I lost all my good friends, I had nowhere to go. Get my hands on the dollar again, I'm gonna hang on to it till that old eagle grins. Nobody knows you when you're down and out. In your pocket, not one penny, and as for friends, well, you ain't got any. When you finally get back on your feet again, everybody wants to be your old long-lost friend. Said it's mighty strange without any doubt. Nobody knows you when you're down and out. Nobody knows you when you're down and out. In your pocket, not one penny, and as for friends, well, you ain't got any. When you finally get back on your feet again, everybody wants to be your old long-lost friend. I say it's strange without any doubt. Nobody knows you. Nobody knows you. Nobody knows you when you're down and out.
It's all right now. What you crying for? It's all right now. You can smile some more. Well, after all now, when it's said and done, oh, and it's over, and you're on your own. Well, all these cliches tripping off your tongue that hide the poison that our loves become. Oh, well, count me out now. Been lying here too long and seen enough now to know I don't belong. Well, and you call me like it's over now. You shouldn't call me. It's not over now. No, don't call me. It's not over now. Don't you call me. It's not over. Well, you call it love now, hold it in your fist. Well, call it anything you like if you think it'll come of this. But count me out now. Been lying here too long. I've seen enough now. No need to carry on. Why don't you write me? Put it into words. An overnight way. You put it into verse. The perfect love song anyone can read. The perfect love goes on and on and on, you see. Why don't you cut me? See if I can bleed. Hold your sharpest knife against my skin to see. Your blood runs through my veins, tearing me apart. And under broken dreams of lovers' scenes beats this broken heart. But it's alright now. And it's alright now. And it's alright now. It's alright.
Thanks very much, Ian. Moving on, we're going to start off with Jan Hawley with one of her own, Maybe I Will Dance. Maybe we will all dance sometime in the future, not too long I hope. Followed by Jim Watts with Lewis Collins. And then going on to Our Atlantic Roots, who we've seen before on the midweek watch party. Great duo, all the years. It's their new single, and if you want any more information about it, it will be at the end of the of this song. Based in Newquay, so I know it's early to be booking things, but if anybody hears of any gigs going, please let them know. And lastly in this group is Alistair Brown with the Santa Fe Trail.
Maybe I'll go to Africa, maybe I'll go to France, maybe I'll surf the ocean, maybe I will dance, maybe I'll go to Venice, the American Great Plains, perhaps I'll go to Italy or Spain. In the travel agent's window, there are places you could go, and on the shelf inside the door, brochures were on show. The amazing destinations, wonderful to see. And as she browsed, the young man asked, where would you like to be? Maybe I'll go to Africa, maybe I'll go to France, maybe I'll surf the ocean, maybe I will dance, maybe I'll visit Venice, the American Great Plains, perhaps I'll go to Italy or Spain. She said, I've got a bit of money, but buy to go somewhere, but I have to choose so carefully, there won't be any spare. Maybe I'll take some brochures, better make quite sure. She turned and hurried quickly from that travel agent's door. Maybe I'll go to Africa, maybe I'll go to France, maybe I'll surf the ocean, maybe I will dance, maybe I'll visit Venice, the American Great Plains, perhaps I'll go to Italy or Spain. Well, she went home with the brochures to her flat above the square. She looked around the walls at all the lovely pictures there. She made herself a cup of tea, smiling through the steam. She settled down and made a wish, and she began to dream. Maybe I'll go to Africa, maybe I'll go to France, maybe I'll surf the ocean, maybe I will dance, maybe I'll visit Venice, the American Great Plains. Perhaps I'll go to Italy or Spain. Her lover was a sailor, sailed across the sea. She stayed home with her mother, never quite broke free. She promised he would wait for her. She promised she would wait. But when she found her freedom, it was half a life too late. Maybe I'll go to Africa. Maybe I'll go to France. Maybe I'll surf the ocean. Maybe I will dance. Maybe I'll visit Venice, the American Great Plains. Perhaps I'll go to Italy or Spain. She never got to Italy or Spain.
Mrs. Collins wept and Mrs. Collins moaned. See his son Louis leaving home. Angels laid him away. Angels laid him away. Laid him 6 feet under the clay. Angels laid him away. Mrs. Collins wept and Mrs. Collins moaned. See his son Louis leaving home. The angels laid him away. Bob shot once and Louis shot two. Shot poor Collins, shot him through and through. Angels laid him away. Oh, kind friends, oh, ain't it hard? See poor Louis, new graveyard. Angels laid him away. Angels laid him away. Laid him 6 feet under the clay. Angels laid him away. When all the women heard Louis was dead, well, they all went out. They dressed in red. Angels laid him away. Angels laid him away. Laid him 6 feet under the clay. Angels laid him away. Mrs. Collins wept and Mrs. Collins moaned. See his son Louis leaving home, and the angels laid him away. Angels laid him away. Laid him 6 feet under the clay, and the angels laid him away. Angels laid him away. Laid him 6 feet under the clay, and the angels laid him away.
Sing your song again for me tonight.
I will sing to you for all my life.
Take my hand and walk with me a while. I'll never let go. Can you smell the raindrops on the pine. I can't remember what we left behind. Tiny moments sing a symphony. I wish we could stay here, stay here. Hold me closer, don't let go. Hold me closer. You a treasure, I will hold you near. Treasure, that is what you are, my dear. The moonlight paints a path for us tonight. It's home for a while. I wish we could stay here. Hold me closer, don't let go. Hold me closer and don't let go. All the years won't be enough, be enough. I'll just hold you and watch time fly. I'm sing in the rainstorms and dance in the sun, and just be thankful we can watch time fly. All the years won't be enough, be enough. I'll just hold you and watch time fly. I'm sing in the rainstorms and dance in the sun, and just be thankful we can watch time fly together. Sing your song again for me tonight. I will sing to you for all my life. Take my hand and walk with me a while. I'll never let go.
This is a song called the Santa Fe Trail. It was written in 1911 by James Grafton Rogers, very interesting bloke. He was Dean of the University of Colorado Law School, as well as the President of the Western Alpine Club. I don't know what other achievements he had. The Santa Fe Trail, it was opened in 1821. It was one of these major routes westward that all these covered wagon caravans used to take on their way to California. It went from Franklin, Missouri, all the way over to Santa Fe, New Mexico. And if you really wanted to keep going, you could go to Mexico City on El Camino Real that headed south from there. Here's a little romance that happened somewhere along the way. Say, part, have you sighted the schooner a-hitting the Santa Fe Trail? They made it here Monday or sooner, at the water keg roped on the rail, with Daddy and Ma on the mule seat, and somewhere along on the way, a tow-headed gal on a pony, a-jangling for old Santa Fe. Yo-ho, yo-ho, a-jangling for old Santa Fe. I seen her ride down the arroyo, way back in the Arkansas sand, with a smile like an acre of sunflowers, and her little brown quirt in her hand. She saddled her pony so weary, and she rode like she carried the mail, and her eyes near set fire to the prairie, long side of the Santa Fe Trail. Oh ho, oh ho, long side of the Santa Fe Trail. I know a gal down on the border that I'd ride to El Paso to sight. I'm acquainted with some high-stepping order, and I've sometimes kissed some girls goodnight. But Lord, there are ruffles and beating, or afternoon tea by the pail, compared with the kind of stampeding that I get on the Santa Fe Trail. Oh ho, that I get on the Santa Fe Trail. I don't know her name on the prairie when it comes to a gal's pretty white, or shorter from hell to Hilary when it is on the Santa Fe ride. But I guess I'll make Cedar by sundown, and camping will be in a swale. I'll come on a gal and a pinto alongside of the Santa Fe Trail. Oh ho, yo ho, alongside of the Santa Fe Trail. Yo ho, alongside of the Santa Fe Trail.
Thank you, Alistair. Moving on to Malcolm and Everybody's Dog. Here's mine. She's asleep, thank goodness. And then Steve Canavan has got our second tribute to Sir Tom. And it might be of interest to some of you who would go back in the history of the sort of folk scene that Steve is the son of Mike Canavan, the folk singer in the Northwest in the 70s and 80s. And Steve runs St Anne's Folk Club near Blackpool, for anybody that's starting to travel at some stage. But he's also started writing, he started at the beginning of the first lockdown to write a song a day of his own, and you can catch that if you're interested on Facebook. Third in the group is Hilary with Cregan white hair. And lastly, sounds eclectic, in Harvest Moon, with Neil Young, of course, and maybe we'll look forward to the next harvest, who knows. Okay, over to Malcolm.
Maybe they're moved by the children left at home alone. The tales of disgruntled dogs would fill a mighty tome. Being a dog's body sure gets on their wick, and we all know, mister, you don't throw enough sticks, 'cause once they're off a lead, see them rush, and everybody's dog would rather be with us, across the moor, the park, or the street. Everybody's dog comes running to our feet. Fido, Benton or Rover, even Tricky Woo, it's just a dog's life, and boy, they know it too. Chained up in a kennel, sleeping on the floor, any canny canine would want so much more. 'Cause once they're off a lead, see them rush, and everybody's dog would rather be with us, across the moor, the park,
street. Everybody's dog comes running to our feet. Who's fed up with being bullied? Who don't get enough treats? Who's sick and tired of being told to sit at his master's feet? You'll tell me he's part of the family and we'll stick with you to the end. But we all really know who he wants as a friend. 'Cause once they're off the lead, see them rush. Everybody's dog would rather be with us. Across the moor, the park or the street. Benton! Everybody's dog comes running to our feet. So here we are out walking. What does Patch see? Smiling, happy people with whom he'd rather be. Shout, wait, blow your whistle, call all you like. If he could speak human, he'd say go take a hike. 'Cause once they're off the lead, see them rush. And everybody's dog would rather be with us. Across the moor, the park or the street. Everybody's dog comes running to our feet. I said everybody's dog comes running to our feet. Benton! Everybody's dog comes running to our feet.
It's not often that I feel sentimental, but tonight I did. Sir Tom, we're sad you're gone. Just wanted to say how you brightened our days, Sir Tom. Although you're gone, we won't forget you. In a rush we can thank you enough. You prove that getting old don't mean you can't be bold. What a way to spend the last year of your life. With a smile on your face, did it all at your own pace. Made us forget our troubles and our strife. Round and round the garden, one step at a time. Made it to 130 million raised online. Sir Tom, not often that a man of your age makes a mark, touches every single heart. Sir Tom, we won't forget the way you helped us cope when we were locked down losing hope. It wasn't just the money you raised for the NHS, was how you made a fed up country feel good. When we were on our knees wearing masks trying not to sneeze, you walked all the way to a knighthood. Round and round your garden, refusing once to cease. Second World War veteran, may you rest in peace. Sir Tom, we're sad you're gone, and though tonight there is a cloud, you truly did us proud, Sir Tom.
Hello, this is a song called The Crag and White Hair. It's a song I've been trying to learn for a very long time, and it's also a long song. So keep your fingers crossed for me that I can get through it. The Crag and White Hair. In the lowlands of Cregan there lives a white hare, swift as the swallow that flies through the soon came back, and it made Barney sigh, for he knew that the white hare had bid him goodbye. And with some jolly sportsmen come down from Pomeroy, from Cookstown, Dungannon, and likewise the Moy. With our pedigree greyhounds we've travelled from far, and we come down to Cregan in our fine motor car. Well, into the lowlands these huntsmen did go, in search of the white hare. They'd look high and low, till at last Barney Conway from a bog bank so rare shouted out to the huntsman, "There lies the white hare." They called up their greyhounds from off the green lea. Barney and the huntsman all jumped high with glee. It was there on the bog bank all gathered around, 7 dogs and 9 men did that poor hare surround. Oh, no wonder the right hare did tremble with fear, as she stood on her hind legs she would raise her big ears. As she stood on her hind legs with one gallant spring, she jumped over the greyhounds and broke through the ring. Well, the chase it went on, it was a beautiful view, swift as the wind, oh, the Green Mountain flew. But those pedigree greyhounds, they didn't run far, they came back and went home in their fine motor car. Then there came another man, and you all know him well. His name was Mick Kelly with the bonny black knell. Oh, in search of the white hare today I'll have fun. I bet 50 to 1 my black knell will her turn. 5 times the hare got then from bonny black knell. The 6th one was given around John Hawley's well. It was there we lost sight of the hare and the dog, and then 10 minutes later came all the black bog. Well, the chase it went on, it was great for to see. The white hare and the black dog both roam light and free, till she travelled to Esco, where she knew the land well, and to bonny black Nell out there soon bid farewell. Oh, now to conclude and to finish this rhyme, I hope you'll forgive me for singing all this while. If there's any amongst you in Carrickmore fair, please drink up a health to the bonny white hare.
Well, it's not harvest time,
Nope.
but it's something we can look forward to.
Yeah, will be no COVID then.
Oh, hopefully. Okay, so this is Harvest Moon and Neil Young wrote it.
You did?
Yeah.
A while ago.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
Move a little bit closer, hear what I have to say. Like children sleeping, we could dream this night away. the night. We know where the music's playing. Let's go out and feel the night. Because I'm still in love with you, I wanna see you dance again. Because I'm still in love with you on this harvest moon. When we were strangers, I watched you from afar. When we were lovers, I loved you with all my heart. But now it's getting late and the moon is rising high. I wanna celebrate, see it shining in your eyes. Because I'm still in love with you, I wanna see you dance again. Because I'm still in love with you on this harvest moon. Because I'm still in love with you, I wanna see you dance again. Because I'm still in love with you on this harvest moon. Lovely. Well, I can hardly say thank you, Rob and Sue, can I really? No. Okay. Moving on to the last group in this evening is handpicked, and their song is Touché Amour, followed by Annie Ellison-Rebb with At Last. I think we're going to say that all of us, aren't we? Hopefully within the next few months. John and Marion have got a song by Rhiannon Giddens called We Could Fly. And Andy Roberts, his second song this evening, it's also an original, and it's called Richard Long. And finishing up the evening is the lovely Alex Giles, and it's an original by him as well, and it's How Do I Get It Right? How do any of us get it right? Well, anyway, Alex is going to tell us. So, over to Handpicked.
Touché d'amour, yours is a sunny day. Of this I'm sure, blowing my clouds away. I just don't know what this could do to me. I only wanted to be touché d'amour, touché d'amour, yeah, 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 yeah. touché d'amour, sailing around the moon like never before. Could never have come too soon. I want this dance to last forever, to last forevermore. Touché d'amour, touché d'amour, yeah, 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 yeah. I just don't know what this could do to me. I only want it to be touché d'amour, touché d'amour, touché d'amour.
At last, my love has come along. My lonely days are over, and life is like a song. At last, the skies above are blue. My heart was wrapped in clover the night I looked at you. I found a dream I could speak to, a dream that I could call my own. I found a thrill to press my cheek to, a thrill that I have never known. Ooh, yeah, you smiled, and then the spell was cast, and here we are in heaven, for you were mine at last. I found a dream I could speak to, a dream that I could call my own. I found a thrill to press my cheek to, a thrill that I
true. Remember Granny Liza, well, every night she flew. They tried to keep her down, but there was nothing they could do. She could fly, she could fly, she could slip the bonds of earth and rise so high. She could fly across the river, her spirit in her hands, searching, always searching for the promised land. Mama, dear Mama, Mama, tell me more. I feel her trembling in my arms I've never felt before. Daughter, dear daughter, listen what I say. Your granny always told me you'd feel that way someday. Every time she looked at you, she saw the old time ways. When we could fly, we could fly, we could slip the bonds of earth and rise so high. We could fly across the mountains together, hand in hand, searching, always searching for the promised land. Mama, dear Mama, come and stand by me. I feel a lightness in my feet, a longing to be free. My heart it is a shaking with an old song. I hear the voices saying it's time for moving on. She took her mama by the hand, they rose up in the air, they held each other tight and then they flew away from there. They held each other tight and then they flew away from there. They could fly, they could fly, they could slip the bonds of earth and rise so high. They could fly across the ocean together, hand in hand, searching, always searching for the promised land. Last chance of snow this weekend, and then we've had it really, unless we get a weird dumping in April. This is definitely a folky one. It's also a local song. Well, the schools are all out and the middle road's closed. The shops are all shutting up early. If you really need to travel, the advice is don't go. We've just had a little bit of snow. Well, the bus is still running, just a little diverted. Ferries tied up on the wall. The postie, the health visitor, they'll struggle through to you. We've just had a little bit of snow. I'm dreaming of a white Valentine. I've downloaded plans to build an igloo with a nice block table and a crystalline window to look out on our little patch of snow. If it settles. So get out your sledge from the back of the shed, last seen about 5 years ago, and put on your crampons, your earmuffs, your axe. We've just had a little bit of snow. I'm dreaming of a white Valentine, downloaded plans to build an igloo with a nice block table and a crystalline window to look out on our little bit of snow. And we're fetching out all of our favourite phrases: blizzard, whiteout, deep freeze, snowpocalypse, Antarctic ice storm, Armageddon. We've just had a little bit of snow. I'm dreaming of a white Valentine, downloaded plans to build an igloo with a nice block table and a crystalline window to look out on our little patch of snow. Just seen a car go by, the first for some time, with a small patch cleared in the windscreen. I don't think that's legal, but anything goes when we've just had a little bit of snow. And I'm dreaming of a white Valentine, downloaded plans to build the igloo with a nice block table and a crystalline window to look out on our little patch of snow.
If love is good and love is bad, your faith is strong, but it drives you mad. It's taken all this time just to get this far, and as you look around you say, what is this for? In pain and in vain, with no one to blame but yourself. Oh Lord, how do I get it right? If talk is cheap, 'cause the meaning's gone, you open up and then it all goes wrong. Is it in the stars that some of us will go around and around? Well, God only knows. In pain and in vain, with no one to blame but yourself. Oh Lord, how do I get it right? Confusion and illusion taking it day by day and step by step. Won't you tell me, how do I get it right? Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. In pain and in vain, with no one to blame but yourself. Oh Lord, how do I get it right? You can't believe that all love is bad. If your faith is lost, that's gonna drive you mad. Well, you're gonna get it right someday. You're gonna get it right someday.
Thank you, Alex. Such a lovely end to a lovely, lovely evening. Thank you, everybody, for all your contributions. And thank you for everybody that's watching as well. It's been a lovely evening. I've been recording these bridges, and the appalling weather outside, it's got to get better. Hasn't all of this just got to get better? It will. Right, we've had a lovely evening. Thank you again for everybody. We're going to have an outro from A Blast from the Past for us. We used to run music sessions in Helston on a weekly basis back in 2013. And we did a compilation CD, and we've chosen one from the lovely Lily and Megan. If you haven't heard them before, you're in for a treat. And they're going to be singing Only Just Begun, 2013. Right, now if anybody wants some more information about anybody that you've seen tonight or you've seen in the past, then if you can't see it on the actual video, then give us a ring, give Rob a ring. No, give Rob a ring, he'll know more about it than I will. We're going to try and put up as much information at the beginning of the YouTube so that you can contact people if you want to, but please don't be shy in coming forward and asking. Okay, that's it for February 2021. Hope to see you all soon. Thank you. Good night.
You've been waiting around for way too long. You got a good feeling, but you're always wrong. A love that lasts for a girl that's gone. A mind that's weak and a heart that's strong. You gotta fight until you've won. Fight until you've won. You gotta spy me out. You gotta hunt me down. Boy, you ain't so proud. No, you ain't so proud. You're gonna waste my time. You're gonna lose your mind. Baby, where's your pride? No, you ain't got pride. Oh, oh, You've been walking this line for way too long. Your eyes are blind with no sight for the sun. You say you've no faith, but you're just too young. Choose to give up, so I'll choose to run. You gotta fight until you've won. Fight until you've won. This has only just begun. Only just begun. You gotta spy me out. You gotta hunt me down. Boy, you ain't so proud. No, you ain't so proud. You're gonna waste my time. You're gonna lose your mind. Baby, where's your pride? No, you ain't got pride. Well, I'm sorry for the things you
said I've done. You turn it around and put me under the gun. You told me these ties can never be undone. So I left you on the road that we were traveling on. You said you fight until you've won. Fight until you've won. This has only just begun. Only just begun. You're gonna spy me out. You're gonna hunt me down. Oh, you ain't so proud. No, you ain't so proud. You're gonna waste my time. You're gonna lose your mind.